Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with multiplying fractions. So you should have a new packet sitting out in front of you. Teachers, if you haven't done this yet, please pause the video and pass out this packet to them. Okay, so we have our packets and we're ready to go. We are going to start with a fraction and a whole number. So if you look here at our first problem, it's saying the whole number 3 times the fraction 2/9. So before we can actually multiply our fractions, we need to make our whole number a fraction. To make our whole number a fraction, we simply put a number 1 underneath it. So we'll draw the fraction bar and put a 1 underneath. So I gave myself this little note right here. It says we put the whole number 3 over 1 before multiplying across. And then over here in our little bubble, it's telling us a whole number can always be written as a fraction. Put it over 1. So you can fill in that 1 there too. So I'll give you a moment to write that down. And then what we're going to do to multiply is we're just simply going to multiply across. So we're going to say 3 times 2 equals 6. 1 times 9 equals 9. However, if I look at 6 and 9, I know this can be simplified. In the last 2 weeks, we worked on simplifying fractions, so I'm hoping you've seen that too. So what I did over here is I divided both of those numbers by 3. So if I divide 6 by 3, I ended up with a 2 on top for my numerator. And I divided 9 by 3, and on the bottom for my denominator, I got 3. So my final answer simplified is 2/3. All right, let's go on to the bottom of our page. Multiplying fractions. So, 2 fractions. If I want to multiply 2 fractions, what am I going to do? Well, let's go over here and talk about the answers and some canceling first so we know what they're wanting us to do over here. So, all answers must be in simplest form. So simplest form, sorry my writing's a little messy, and convert it to improper fractions to mixed numbers if necessary. And we worked on a lot of that last week with your worksheets, so this should be, oh yeah, I know how to do that. Canceling is going to be something new. Some of you may have seen that. Some of you, this might be brand new to you, but we're going to give it a try. So to cancel, divide a number within a numerator, which is your top number, and a number in your denominator, which is your bottom number, by their greatest common factor. So when we were up on top, when we had 6/9, and we divided those both by 3, and we came up with 2/3, that's kind of what they're talking about here, and we're going to do it a little bit differently before we actually do our work. So I'll give you a second to finish writing that down. All right, now we're going to multiply 2 fractions. Now, there's a couple ways I can do this. I can just multiply and then simplify, or I can try this canceling option that I have. So, in order to cancel, I need to look at the numbers that are diagonal from each other. So I always go, what 2 numbers does the multiplication sign connect? So the 5 and the 3 and the 4 and the 8. So, looking at 4 and 8, I know 4 times 2 equals 8. So I know I can divide both of these numbers by 4. So I'm going to cross this off, divide by 4, and my answer, I get a remainder. I just have left 1. If I divide 8 by 4, I'm going to be left with a 2. So if you look down below, I have 1/5 times 3/2. This is where they got it. They took this 1 that we have left here and this 2 here after we took that 4 out. Now I can simply multiply across and go 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 2 is 10. So my answer is 3/10. Now, this is a nice little skill to know, simply for the fact that once you get to the end, you don't have to do all that simplifying, because 4 and 8 were pretty simple numbers to divide. Now, let's say that I didn't want to do that, and I had 4/5 times 3/8. And I don't want to cross cancel because that confuses me, so I don't want to do it. That's fine. So 3 times 4 is 12, and 5 times 8 is 40. Now, 12/40ths, I know I can divide. They're both even, so I know I can divide them by 2. Maybe we can think a little bit higher, and I'm looking at 12 and I'm looking at 40, and I know I can divide it by 4. So I'm going to divide both of these numbers by 4. So if 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 40 divided by 4 is 10. So if you look, whether we canceled, doing the cross canceling, or if we just multiplied and simplified, we are going to end up with the same answer. It just depends which way you're more comfortable with. I'm going to pause the video here, and then we're going to do a couple more problems next.